1954 was an interesting time. We had just come out of the throes of World War II. The world is rebuilding, and what's a better place to start with the rebuild than the lovely game of football? Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the World Cup Review Series, where we explore every single World Cup in 20 minutes or less. Today, we're going to hop in the time machine and head back to 1954. Now, to set the scene, it's only 9 years after World War II. The world is literally still in black and white for most people, and Europe is still covered in scaffolding. But in Switzerland, something legendary is brewing. This wasn't just a tournament, it was a welcome back to humanity party. The 1954 World Cup was the first one to be televised, which is huge. Imagine being a fan in the 50s and seeing these giants for the first time on a tiny, tiny flickering screen. There were 16 teams, but the favorites weren't Brazil or Germany, it was the men of Hungary. They were at the time considered the 2011 Barcelona of international football. They had not lost a game in 32 straight matches. They had Puskás and Kosic, and they were playing a brand of total football before the Dutch even knew what it was. But as we're about to see, this tournament wasn't just about beautiful goals. It was about absolute, unfiltered, did that actually just happen madness. Before the first whistle ever blew in Switzerland, we had one of the biggest what if moments in sports history. Spain, easily a top 8 team in the world, didn't even make the tournament. And the reason? It sounds like a bad movie plot. Qualifying at the time was a best of 3 series. Spain crushed Turkey 4-1 at home and then lost 1-0 in Istanbul. Today, Spain goes through on aggregate, right? 4-2 total across the 2 legs, easy. But in 1954, nope. Aggregate didn't even exist. Since it was 1 win each, they had to play a tie-breaking game in Rome. Right before the match, some dude walks into the Spanish locker room claiming to be a FIFA official. He tells them their best player, Lasido Cuba, who at the time was a legend and the face of Barcelona, is ineligible because he was born in Czechoslovakia. Spain panics, sits him out, and they draw the game 2-2. Now, since it was tied and there was no extra time at that point, after the match, the FIFA officials were like, we never said Cuba couldn't play. He was fine to play, actually. And to make it worse, no penalty kicks. So they brought down the son of a stadium steward, blindfolded him, and had him pick a name out of the bowl. He ended up picking Turkey. So Spain went home because a kid picked a wrong name on the piece of paper. Imagine if Spain missed a World Cup today because a kid named Enzo picked a name out of a hat. The internet heads on Mars. So the tournament kicks off and the format's just weird. They had 4 groups of 4, but you only had to play 2 games in your group. If you tied, you did a playoff. Hungary entered Group 2 and absolutely dismantled everyone. They beat South Korea 9-0. Then they faced West Germany, and the German coach Sepp Herberg was a tactical genius. He knew he couldn't beat Hungary yet, so he played his B team and let Hungary win 8-3. But there was a catch. During that game, a German defender named Vern Liebrich tackled Puskás so hard he broke his ankle. Hungary won the game, but they lost the best player in the world for the rest of the knockout stages. Germany, meanwhile, got through the playoff by beating Turkey 7-2. This set the stage for the most calculated long game in football history. Now we get to the quarterfinals, Brazil versus Hungary. This game is historically known as the Battle of the Bern, and it makes modern dirty games and dark arts look like Sunday school picnic. Brazil had been called soft after losing the 1950 final at the Maracanã, so they came out swinging, literally. This wasn't a football match, it was a 90-minute street fight. 3 red cards, constant hacking, and the violence didn't stop at the whistle. Photographers ran onto the field to join the scrap. The lights in the stadium went out, and the Brazilian players reportedly stormed the Hungarian locker room after they lost. We're talking broken bottles, punches thrown in the corridor, photographers versus photographers, photographers versus players, players versus managers, managers versus managers. The Hungarian coach, Gustav Sebs, actually had to get stitches above his eye after being hit with a bottle. Hungary won 4-2, but they were physically and mentally exhausted. Finally, reaching the final, West Germany versus Hungary, a rematch of the 8-3 blowout. It was raining. Because the German team had these newfangled screw-in studs on their boots made by a little known guy called Adidas. Hungary did not. So Hungary went up 2-0 in the first 8 minutes of the game. Everyone thought, here we go again. It's going to be another beatdown, another Hungary win. They're unstoppable. But the Germans, with their better grip on the muddy pitch and insane fitness, fought back. Max Morlock scored then. Helmut Rahn tied it. And in the 84th minute, Rahn, who is nicknamed the Boss, smashed in the winner 3-2. The Hungarians were done for. Their first loss in 4 years. For West Germany, this was way more than a trophy. It was the first time since the war that they felt like they could be proud of being German again. It basically sparked the economic miracle and gave the country a new identity. While Germany was celebrating, Hungary was falling apart. The loss was a national tragedy. Fans literally burned the houses of players back in Budapest, and this loss actually helped fuel the tensions leading to the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. When the revolution hit, Puskás and the other stars were abroad and decided they were never going back. They ended up defecting. Puskás ended up playing for Spain later in his career, which is just the ultimate full circle moment. So 1954, a blindfolded kid, a fake FIFA official, a locker room brawl, and a political revolution. Next time you think a 0-0 draw is boring, just remember, it could be way worse. You could be a Spanish fan in 1954. Smash that like button, subscribe for more football history, and I'll see you on the next World Cup. Peace.